PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Hey, I promised you a little spy into the 2019 Avalon. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. I love it when Toyota comes out with a brand new product and it's 0.6 inches longer and 0.3 inches wider, and you know the average person really cares about that. So we're not going to go into any of that. It's a little bit longer, a little bit wider, and that's kind of the game every single time. But it's the technology that's being built into the car. So you got some trim levels. You got the XLE at 35.5. You've got the XSE at 38. And the Limited is 41.8. Now those are all the V6. You can upgrade all three of those for $1,000 on each one of them if you want to go hybrid. So, I mean, you know, if you're bumping hybrid and you're driving in town and you're looking at that Avalon and everything, I mean, $1,000. I mean, you're going to make that back in fuel in no time. That's a tremendous deal right there, and a package that you can sell to nearly any customer. It doesn't matter which one they choose, the V6 or the hybrid, as long as they choose one from you, right? And then the V6 standalone touring, 301 horsepower. So all V6 is 301 horsepower, 8-speed transmission, CVT 4-cylinder in the hybrid with 215 horsepower. But all of us know, because we're into hybrids now, we've driven hybrids, that it's an amazing amount of torque from the low end because of the motor and the battery assist in the car. So either car is a fantastic deal. So at 42.2, I believe that's the number on the touring. So again, really the prices didn't go through the roof. And I've had a couple of writers. I've read some of the stuff they've written, and I've watched a couple of videos. I mean, they're comparing this car, this touring car, to the LS Lexus. And I know you can't get one of those at 42.2. So big deal right now, 8-speed transmission, standard. You hearing me? Standard. Apple CarPlay. I mean, everybody can now pair their phone up and do something with their phone in the car. I don't care if you just got your phone yesterday. So been waiting for this to happen. Sorry, Toyota. Intune is so complicated, man. I mean, you know, the worst thing in the world we can do, guys, is to give somebody a car with Intune that's never had it before and then just walk away and have them back in the service department 2 days later asking the service writer, so how does this work? And they go, dude, I've never even seen this system before. So think about all of the technology that you're passing on to the customer that really takes a minute to learn. Think about making a short introduction video to Intune and the features of Intune, and send it to every customer in your follow-up. Thank you for your purchase. Give me 100% on customer satisfaction because I'm your dude, I'm your gal. And by the way, here's a little something when you're going through Intune again, step-by-step ways to do it. I don't know why all of you wouldn't do that. That is, it should be mandatory. It's just too technical not to be mandatory. Next thing, the engine sound enhancer. Let me give you a little history with Toyota. Okay, so back in the day when they came out with a 92 Camry, I didn't misspeak, 1992. I know some of you go, dude, I wasn't even born yet. Okay, really? Thanks a lot for that one. But in 1992, they showed us some real new technology to change the sound of the car. They took little asphalt pads and they moved them around in the doors. And they moved the car into a sound chamber, like a music studio for a rock group. And they would close the door and they would move the pads around until they had a perfect matrix of the pads so they could get exactly the sound from the door they wanted. It's that little shook. And they actually programmed the sound of the door. When I thought, in 92, I thought that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. So you care that much about the way the door closes that you're going to use the best scientists in the world in the automotive business to create a perfect sounding door. We did stuff like inventing door handles so that if you had manicured nails you wouldn't break a nail, and all that stuff just amazed me, that the attention to detail down to the finest point of the user, and we didn't change. Everybody loves when you get a little V6 car. That engine sound is amazing. The better the engine sounds, the more you want to turn your radio off and just listen to the engine. Well, we're now piping the sound of the engine enhanced into the cabin of the V6 Avalon. Wait until you drive this car and you hear this. Now, maybe you don't need to tell your customer about this. That's completely up to you. But when you sit there and go, you just got to listen to the engine quality of this vehicle. It's a wall. When you hit that thing, they're going like, oh, that's amazing. Remember, we are going to the nth degree to make this car a pleasant car. It's a heavy car. The touring car is a heavy car. So what do we do to the touring? And the touring's the one everybody's pushing. Hey, we're going to be able to sell all the other Avalons, but when you sell that touring and everything, you need to hold your place on that and make a little money on the car, because the car's worth more money than they're charging for it. We've upgraded the mirrors, we've upgraded the wheels, the exhaust is upgraded to give a different exhaust sound, so it sounds different than the other grades. The suspension is where I'm going to leave off on today. And let me tell you something, I haven't driven a car. They got to let me start driving. I used to get to drive the cars early on. Now I just got to steal the information and sneak it to you like some kind of covert spy or something. It's the most revolutionary hidden secret of all time, whatever. And I think you guys need to know before anybody else, and I'm trying to get some information out. So there's settings on the suspension in the touring. And the settings are so sequential that there's 650 different levels of suspension that this suspension can achieve. Think about that. Now one of the deals is road condition. I'm driving every day. I go over railroad tracks. It comes up, it bumps the tires. It is so fast, 20 milliseconds, that by the time my front tire hits that first railroad track, the suspension reprograms itself to smooth out the bumps of the tracks and the broken asphalt around where the train crossing is. That's amazing to me. So any kind of road condition, if you go from a really, really nice paved road and the next 10 miles of the road are grooved for asphalting in the future, the suspension is going to make a change to do everything it can to quiet the ride and smooth out the ride. That alone right there is worth buying the car. But wait, there's more. The steering. So I'm going to point the steering wheel here. I want the car to go there. So the suspension works along with the engine, throttle, kill switch, where I decrease the throttle with vehicle stability control. We've talked all about that a couple of weeks ago. But as I turn the steering wheel, not only does the engine work to make sure I have a perfect turn, the suspension changes up to 650 positions to make sure if I turn here, we know there's going to be roll to the outside. If I turn here, there's going to be roll over here. So there's also a lateral G sensor built in. So the harder I turn the wheel, the more G force is forced to the outside of the car. They're saying, and again, I haven't driven it, they're saying when you push this car in a hard turn, that the tires will roll over before the suspension lets the car get off level. That's how amazing this is. Now wait a minute, this starts to get me super jacked. If we're building this into the touring Avalon, what's going to happen with the Supra? Do you just want to drive that car? Do you just want Toyota to go deep into their pockets and go, you know what, full-blown freaking ride and drive on the all-new Supra? Just remember that all of the things that I'm talking about right now are built into this touring edition at 42.2. Stay tuned for more. I can't wait to drive this car. Avalon is going to be a big thing in 2019. PK52, the Saturday morning meeting.